Okay, we ready, Haru?
This meeting is being recorded.
We're ready.
All right, it's on you. You know how to start it. Start the slideshow, and then we'll go from there. You know where to stop it, right? Zama's here. He'll let you know.
You are muted, my brother. Sorry about that. All right, I see it. Should I begin? Yeah. Okay, with the help of the positive forces of the universes and our ancestors, we pledge to accomplish the mission which was assigned to this committee by the pre-Congress organized Congress in view of politically uniting all African states and people now. We commit to listening to each other objectively. We are determined to spare no effort or resources that belong to us for the success of the campaign for the political unification of all African people. We pledge to render the oppression of Africans a thing of the past, recounted by our oral and written history. We have it within our capacity to restore African people to their rightful
Haru.
world stage for the good of all humanity. We firmly believe that Africans are on the rise and nothing will stop them from regaining their full sovereignty and repairing their dignity. That Ubuntu and the principles of Ma'at be our guides, one people, one destiny.
Were you able to hear it, Senghor?
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't see anything yet, bro.
Okay, I thought my mistake.
Avec l'aide des forces positives de l'univers et de nos ancêtres, nous nous engageons à accomplir la mission qui a été confiée à ce comité par le pré-congrès. L'organisation réussie du pré-congrès fédéraliste panafricain peut unir politiquement tous les États et les peuples africains maintenant.
Open it up, Haru.
Les uns les autres en toute objectivité. Nous sommes déterminés à ne ménager aucun effort des ressources qui nous appartiennent pour le succès de la campagne pour l'unification politique de tous les peuples africains.
No slides, Haru.
Nous engageons à faire l'oppression des Africains une chose du passé, racontée par l'histoire orale et écrite. Nous avons la capacité de remettre les peuples africains à leur place légitime sur la scène mondiale pour le bien de toute l'humanité. Nous croyons fermement que les Africains sont debout et rien ne les empêchera de regagner leur pleine souveraineté et de réparer leur dignité. Comme tout et les peuples de Mars, un peuple est destiné à les principes. Ubuntu et les principes de Mars soient.
If you're having trouble, Haru, we're going to get started. Haru?
You should be able to see the screen. I'm not sure what's happening.
No, we're going to have to get started, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Greetings, listening audience. Greetings, everybody. This is Baba Senghor, and I really want to thank everybody for joining us. We are going to open up right now. This is a very, very serious elevation for our traveling ambassador, Brother Runoko Rashidi. We have quite a few queens who are going to address us, and we're going to start off with our dear sister, the High Commissioner General, Dr. Chenzara Kahini. So without any further ado, my sister.
Blessed greetings, Hotep, to our viewers, to our listeners, and most importantly, to the illustrious, majestic, ancestral energies of the Makiku.
We're going to start right away, and then we're going to.
She'll be back in a second, I'm sure.
Progress.
Most humbly, that all of the elders, the eldresses that are present, grant that nod grant that nod of support for us to move forward. Do I winter? I ask also that those that are young, and if you can hear in my background, it is pouring rain, like rain we don't always get here in St. Croix. And it's like an abundant libation, so I don't even need to pour. That's how powerful this 40-day rites is for the illustrious, majestic Makeru, triumphant one, Nana Runoko Rashidi. And we're keeping his energy up and lifted as he ascends and keeps ascending and going through the double halls of Ma'atu, where his heart shall be as light as a feather. I also bring greetings from Per'ankh Msmai Tawi, linked innately, organically with UNIA-ACL RC2020. So as I'm speaking, I am also sharing the word, sound, power, strength, and joyous upliftment, ancestral vibrations of my beloved Nisu, Nebkara, Asahra, Kasamsura, Hirishetapahuru, who is the chief elder, high priest of Per'ankh Msmai Tawi. I just saw lightning. I just need people to catch this because I wanted to be outside by the sea and it just been pouring rain, just like libation coming from the sky to thunder, lightning, whoop, whirlwind for true, as we send up and honor Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi, keep calling his name. So I share first in the meta nature, and I always humbly extend my highest respect to all of the elders and eldresses present for granting us an opportunity to have the queens, the queen mothers, the queen grandmothers, our sistren, open up in sacred space. Hetep din sut, asar neb, tiched kenti, amneti, neb, Chu Abdu Wap Teplu Nepta Negester Netera Di Senu Pero Keru Merkenu Senatara Shasu Merkitu Chafu Nebu Duafu Quafu Irp Ket Nebet Nefert Uab Anket Netera Netera, M.N. Kau Enu, Imaku Asawat, Maker, Tepau Shapsu Enta Netera, Au, Senu Nebu, Hena Hemet, Senuit, Mehri, Hena Meru Senuatu,
Papa Mosley.
Nebu Mehri, Remetu, Neftu, Nut, Sen, Duau, Netera, Au, Nebu, Meri, Remetu, Nut, Senut, Duau, Netera, Neteru, Shepshu, Anku, Ank Uja Seneb, As, Jechet, Ank Uja Seneb, Mihra, Dejet. English. An offering to a royal one, giving heights of power and energy to our Makeru triumphant one, Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi, a wasir, a noble one, foremost of Amenta, the Westerners, noble one of the Jed, doubled pillared country, the great Necher, the great almighty creative energy source, sacred source, a noble one of the Apchu, of the country where the heart is revered, again, where the heart is revered, and to the opener of the way, the Apawat, for this noble one to be on top of his mountain, on top of the sacred place, beyond Dorestau, beyond Amenta, beyond the West. Give this voice offering of scented oils, divine incense, alabaster, fine linen, food offerings, libation waters, fermented beverages, earth, and all things beautiful and pure, on which the Necher, the Necheru, the divine ones, the almighty, omnipotent, omnipresent energies lives through his soul, through his spirit, as one of our beloved ancestors of Tanetera, of Africa, the flesh and soul of our ancestral ones. From their beloved ascendant children, from the beloved family, from the beloved village, from the beloved government, from the beloved community, society, nation, may we hold our beloved brother Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi, up and up high. Praises to the great Necher, praises to the powers, all the attributes, all the functions, all the praises due our own turn. I share that only as an opening because there's so much more that is to be shared, and we will continue to keep Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi in the heights. It is very important that we honor our ancestors and that we continue to offer stability, life, strength, health, wellness, protection in all of their traversing. Now we really have to see which part he did. Now we really have to navigate what is he really doing in the cosmos, because before we had an idea of where he was traversing on the earth. Now he's everywhere throughout the universe. And that spiritual energy demands protection. It demands honor and it demands greatness. We also honor the principles of Ma'at, truth, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony that guide him as he traverses through multiple layers of his own initiatory ascension as a triumphant one, as a blessed, beloved, welcomed ancestor. And we take a moment and take a deep breath together and hold that breath with sacred intention and let out the sound of life as we do that Ankh salute. Oh. Giving thanks and praise. And I always open and welcome. It's an honor and a privilege to be with such powerful, regal, majestic African Queen Mother warriors, and of course, our African King Father warriors. I did not omit that. I just needed to make sure I just shared how excited and joyous I am to be in the presence of such powerful, awesome, omnipotent, there's not enough words in English, just nefer, power, giving thanks and praise. And we open for our next African Queen Mother warrior, sharing words, sound, power, and strength for our illustrious, regal, majestic Nana Professor Dr. Runoko. I like rolling R's. Rashidi. Do I winter?
Mama Tendai, you need to unmute.
Greetings, beloved family. I hope can you hear me well? Okay. All right. One of the things that I have recognized is that regardless of which traditional process or spiritual system that we follow, most of our rituals are very similar. So I begin this one for people refer to it as Yoruba, but the religion is called Ifa. It is the religion of the Yoruba people. I am an Awo because although I have been initiated Each time I go to Nigeria, I am initiated even more. And initiation in truth is a life experience. So you never reach that level of perfection in which there is no more elevation or evolution that you must go through. So as I begin with the Yoruba tradition or with the Ifa, all things must begin with Olodumare, Mother, Father, God. I pour libation. It's a two-part ceremony for Brother Runoko. First is libation, and then as the sister had mentioned, we give food offerings because we must feed those who are on the way. And when we are having any sort of a celebration, as an African people, we always eat. We have food, and in sharing in the food is one of the ways that we celebrate. So as I pour libation, I begin with Olodumare, Mother, Father, God, Olorun, Olofi. And I pour, first of all, making honor to the earth, Mother Earth and Father Sky, with water. As the primal essence, as my sister has said, the libation of the energy of the universe coming down. And as it is said, Mojuba Olorun, Mojuba Olofi, Mojuba Olodumare, three of the names that we used to call Mother, Father, God. I say in the Yoruba tradition, thou, the God creator who created land and water and humans to lead. God has made us the principal energy to be divine over all, or to have dominion over the earth. Mother, Father, God, we adore you. We lift you up. We place you first in front of all others. And as it is said in the sacred Odu, which are the divine verses of Ifa, Kanran or Warren, rainwater cannot penetrate the cork of tree barks. Made Ifa for Olodumare, the all-wise. When he was to create land on water, he was asked to sacrifice wisdom, and he did. Till today, water has not penetrated and dissolved the land that God has created. Olodumare, it is you we adore. And we ask that you please let the soul of Baba Runoko Rashidi, Ronnie Ross, climb into the land of eternal life. We second give you Jinn. We give you spirit because we call you a spirit to call spirit. And as we finish with this Olodumare, we come to the point in which we ask our beloved ancestors to open the way for Baba Runoko. For you, I pay obeisance to my ancestors. I pay the respect and adoration to you all with all spirits of true humans who have inhabited the world and who lead the spheres of human development. If you had not come to earth, we would not exist. And so our family is indebted to you consistently. We praise you and we honor you, and we say that Ifa says in the divine Odu, Osetura, that Ifa made for Oyapolo, the only child of divinity in the life. His father had died when he was an infant. His mother had died when he was a soldier, toddler. He was summoned to propitiate with rituals. He claimed that he did not know how to do so because he was orphaned. Does a ritual start with water, libation, or palm oil? I do not know. Ye ancestors, we call upon you to descend. Ascend, descend here to be with us as you carry the spirit of our beloved brother forward. We ask you, Mama Kinkumashe, Mama Pearlie Moore, and Father Joseph Ross, the divine energies that came together to create our brother Runoko, to pull back the veil and allow him to come through. We pray that all of the ancestors whose energy he embodied, like Ivan Van Sertima, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Francis Cress Welsing, Patricia Newton, Sister Sharshi McIntyre, that all of those whom he had followed, all of those whom he had adored, all of those he emulated, all of those whose energy he has created, come and assist your brother as he makes his transition from life unto life. And as I soon I call upon the energies of Orisha to also come forth to assist in this process. Ore ye yo, ore ye yo, ore ye yo. Ashuna, amio, atao, edano, edino, abao. Ore ye yo. I call upon the energies and I use spirit to call the spirit. As I say, Titi Eshu, Titi Ogun, Titi Obatala, Titi Shango, Titi Yamanja, Titi Oya, Titi, all the pantheon of Orisha, Orumala. We call upon all of you to assist in this divine ascension of our beloved brother, because he deserves your assistance. He has labored hard here on this earth to try to improve our lot as our energies remain encased in this spiritual, in this flesh. We ask that now that he is no longer bound by flesh, that you receive him. And we feed you on your way. We feast you with the things that ancestors like. We give you akara. We give you palm oil. We give you these things to go with you as you ascend, my dear brother, Runoko. Be well fed and bring food to your ancestors. And Holy Divine Orisha, give them our greetings here on this earth and thank them for us, for all that they have done and for allowing you to be with us. As you go and as we have provided you with pounded yam and amala, we give you the spices to take with you so that your journey on that plane of consciousness is wonderful. We give you pepper so that you have a little spice for your life. We give you salt so that there is essence to that which you are doing for that experience. The ancestors will enjoy this. They haven't had any for a while. We give you sweet honey so that that experience that you are having in lifeless form will be one that is sweet and uplifted. And we give you palm oil so that your transition is smooth. In the tradition of our people, we also provide you with cola nut to take with you. And we give you the eye so that you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you carry with you. And we provide you with bitter cola. Ascend, my brother. We assist you from this plane of consciousness to assist you in this process. We pray for your divine evolution, that you take your rightful place among not just the elders, but also those who have been knowledgeable and who have been committed to our people. We ask that you arise and that they give you all that it is that you need, that you may be able to assist us here now that you are no longer confined in physical flesh. Help us to evolve as a people to gain our independence. As we call upon those ancestors, we close with one God, one aim, one destiny, acknowledging our beloved ancestor, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
It is a fact.
Ashe.
You don't have to necessarily
Okay. As we move forward with our government of
Ashe.
UNIA-ACL RC2020's ritual 40-day rites of passage for our beloved traveling ambassador. You're gonna keep hearing this: majestic, illustrious, powerful Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi. We will be hearing word, sound, power, strength tributes through the Akan tradition from our powerful, illustrious priestesses, Queens Mona Shehri and Ismira. Please welcome Duawater.
Majo, Mache, Macheo, that means good morning in Akan, in the tree language. Lifting up Brother Rashidi, may I have the permission of my elders to continue?
You have our permission.
Able, yeah, able. I will be pouring libations for our beloved brother Runoko. And at the end of that, I will be raising up a candle so that the way is lit as he ascends to be an ancestor. So what we have on our altar table is a lit candle. We have the traditional kamfo that is doing the dance to bring down the bosum, the abosum, or the deities to help raise him up. We have the village people that are there to support his ascension. We have a tree, which is a tree of life, which is also a drum, to anchor him, to root him where he is going. We have water. We have the plant, which gives us life and cleans the air. So it'll clean his path. So as I go into the libations, I will be speaking tree. And there will be a part where we call on the ancestors. We want to call on Runoko with strength, with power, and all the ancestors that have supported him over the years. We want them to pull him up as we push him up to the other side. So I'll say, I'll go, I may, I'll go, I may, I'll go, I may. Canal Ray Abo Shekama. Canal Ray Sasiabuna. Canal Ray America sent to me and Naya from Moon Samanfo. Not the part of the upon Kwame and stuff, Sasiana stuff, and I'm certainly baby and stuff known. And the Asian stuff, and the Copian stuff, and the Tigray and stuff, and the Copa Wide the Roma. Not a Suya stuff, not a Chukma stuff, not a Suabana stuff, not a Botan stuff. Nana still Tano, baby son no. Nana still Dosa one son, and Quaker Deku one son, and Copier friend and Tia Yao, baby son no. Nana Oba Quaking son, and a Kumian son, and an Obo, baby son no. Nana still both the praying son, and a coaching son. That's a little free that Zilly don't home, baby and son no. And y'all to come to be baby and son no. And y'all to come to say Copa baby and son no. A soul now in Coco, Niger, Congress, and BG, baby and son no. A soul Mississippi, Hudson, James, Potomac, and the Coxsackie inside. These are the rivers, ancient, African, and here in the States, in which we have all flowed together. I will say, Marvin Samanfo Nana no, Basin Star no, Madonna sending something and something to my phone star. Don't know better to nail your board to my phone star. The great Kuna to my phone star. Salt Pond to my phone star. Now me back to the to my phone star. Now a queer pair of bed inside. Now the yellow pair of Zulu inside. A comfort quasi payment and a wild baby inside. No one I do run my. It's time now to come to my phone star. I'm supposed to not know the month, so what the fear, baby inside no. Waffle baby starting on. I meant to renew in star and Warriors in star. And now you call on your ancestors, please. Starting with Runoko Rashidi, star. Tony Martin, star. I've been Cinema, star. Ambrose, star. Bernard Gray, star. Lisa Light, star. X-Men, Newton, star. French Quest, Russell, star. Dick Gregory, star. And so many others. My power to show. Continue to say your ancestors' names. To support Runoko Rashidi. Those that have not been named, but in our heart and mind and spirit to call, we bring you, we call you and ask that you support our brother Runoko Rashidi. Yeshrei more shidder, baby instano. Yeshrei more holding baby instano. Yeshrei more nasa baby instano. Give him wisdom, give him strength, let him flow like the river. Yembo son, Minanina Quasto, Aboson, Intamaso, Madasi Pa. Odamakama, Sasiyas, Mother, Father, God, which represents the heavens, represents the earth. We take this time to send off our brother warrior scholar, Runoko Rashidi. He has covered the globe in a way in which no one that we know of in our lifetimes has covered. He has done the work that he was set out to do. He has sacrificed to do the work that he was set out to do. He did it on purpose. He did it in love. He did it as a warrior scholar, walking in the footsteps of those who trained him, those he revered, and those he picked up the mantle from to take it further. We thank you, ancestors, that you gave him the equipment and tools and wisdom and insight and tenacity to go the distance, to move forward, and to bring others with him. That he has left a cadre of young scholar warriors to move in his footsteps and take it to the next level. He is released from all hurt, harm, and danger. He is released from all fear and anxiety, sickness, or disease. As he ascends into the light and to the other side, we can call on his name with strength, with wisdom, with purpose, that he is there to assist us. He is there amongst the great ancestors that have gone before him. We say Ashe, 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 oh. And in this time, we take the green glass that it has the mojo or the activated charcoal, which we have fed for him and taken ourselves to sanctify this event and to lift him up. We replace it with the candle of light in a higher position to show that he has risen after 40 days to be an ancestor among the greats. And in his libation, there's lavender to make his roads sweet. There are silver coins so that he can use for bartering or trading or giving away. There are also the cowrie shells, which are his riches, which is part of his heritage. And then there's the stone, the arbor. We sharpen the iron with the stone. And so with this, I would say, Kanao are abu shekama. Kanao are asasiabunya. Kanao are medicasi. And I am Ramon Samanfo. There's nothing that can be shaken to impede or stop this transition and ascension. And we even have musical instruments. We have the drum. We have the shakeres. We have the elephant that is a mighty carrier and warrior. And we have the love that we have for him. Each and every one of you, I give thanks for this opportunity to be part of his ascension ceremony. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo, and so it is. Mopia, Mopia. Peace. I will present to you my dear sister, Ismera Ike, who will give us some physical relationships and remembrances of our warrior scholar brother, Runoko Rashidi. Sister Ismera.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear Queen Mother. Can y'all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Ashe.
Okay, wonderful. I just wanted to check. So I'm so honored and delighted to be with the dynamic and distinguished Queen Mothers and priestesses who spoke before me and who will speak after me. I first need to please clarify that I am not an Akan priestess, although I do practice parts of the Akan culture, and I also spend a great deal of time in that part of West Africa. I am a Pan-African activist, an active Garveyite, a geopolitical economist who currently serves in the United States Congress as an international policy advisor. And Runoko was one of my advisors in that position. Runoko, our beloved, revered now ancestor, he passed while I was in Ghana with my dear sister, Dr. Afia Zakia, for the first ever convention of the African Heritage Studies Association to be held on African soil, where Baba Runoko was planning to present shortly before he went to Kemet. And the reason I was asked to participate in this is my sister, Dr. Zakia, and I had planned to go to Kemet from Ghana, at that time not knowing exactly what his funerary rites would be, but we picked up a few items in Kumasi and in Accra, of course, Akan land and Ashanti land, to help him along his transition into the ancestral realm. I brought them with us to the funeral held in Los Angeles, but we found it more relevant and appropriate to present them here. And as I'll just go through a quick presentation and then get into some of the reflections if there's enough time, or I can reserve those reflections for another part of the ceremony if they're not most befitting here, or just omit them altogether. But first, as he was and still is our traveling ambassador, of course, for his journey into the ancestral realm, he needed some socks, because we know he always wore those socks with his sandals, no matter where he gallivanted on the globe. So these particular ones were made by an artist in Ghana, and they feature some very befitting, appropriate Adinkra symbols to show the attributes of bravery, fearlessness, and valor, which we know Baba Runoko embodied for him to have traveled, crisscrossed the globe in over 125 countries and territories, often solely by himself. So we got this pair of socks with this particular Adinkra symbol. And then of course, we needed something red, black, and green. We got these socks with the Ankh and also Mama continents of Africa on them, so he could have a backup pair. We brought along some currency in both coin and paper form. One of them is, they're from multiple countries, but one of them is a Garveyite coin from Jamaica, and the rest are CDs from Ghana, a few from Mexico, a few from other West African countries. I have a arrowhead, an obsidian arrowhead from the Olmec region of Mexico, which he spent so much time in. I have a small lady traveling companion for him. This is, of course, from Ghana with the little skirt wrapped around in kente cloth. I particularly chose not to wear white today. Instead, I selected bright malachite green because it's, well, of course, it's most malachite is mined in either Kenya or the Congo, the DRC. But what the color green and what malachite symbolizes is positive transformation. And as he transforms into, as was used earlier, the adjective of a majestic, most powerful ancestor, I thought that this would be most appropriate because I'm not a priestess and I wanted to give that respect to my other sisters on the program. And as he was a devout, active Garveyite, I also have a little pin for him that he can display. So do I have some other little trinkets of meaning, but I'll leave it at that. So should I go into the reflection part or should that be reserved for another time?
Please
Now
move.
go ahead into the reflection.
Okay, all right. So as I said, Baba Runoko was one of my main private advisors, not just in United States Congress, but also in life. Ironically and very strangely, I first came to know about Runoko Rashidi in one of the most melanin deficient plots on the planet, and that is the Central European country of Slovakia. Interestingly, he and I were there almost at the same time. I did not know him then. I heard about his reflections in that country much later. I was there at that time as a graduate student at the University of Frankfurt, Germany. Like I said earlier, I'm a geopolitical economist, so I was studying the convergence of the euro. And as various countries adopted the euro throughout Europe, I would go there and conduct research for my graduate studies. And as I said, as a Pan-African activist, I also would study the present civilization of Black folk in these areas of Europe. And little known is that there are about 20 million Afro-Europeans. I know that's said in a very derogatory way here, but there are actually Afro-Europeans from Sweden to Spain, from Iceland to Ukraine. And I went to Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia, alone. And it was the first time I had ever been in a setting where I didn't see any Black people for days and days and days and days. One day I stumbled upon a mall and I saw a Black shop owner who came running towards me, very magnetically as melanin is, as as Senghor and Runoko would say, Blacktricity. He introduced me to the Afro-Slovak community there. And as they heard my story, at that time, I think I had been to about 30 various countries researching the contemporary Black presence. One of the Black Slovaks said, "You remind me of this brother who was just here named Runoko Rashidi." And he explained to me who Runoko was, and I researched him, and I was so uplifted because up until that point, I had never really met another Black person, another African from the US, from the hood, because you know, Runoko's from Compton, I'm from the inner city of Milwaukee and St. Louis. So I derived new motivation and inspiration for what I had been doing. Now, at that time, I was a conscientious dissident, objector. I never planned to live in the US again. My plan was to make my money in Europe and then retire in Africa. But as fate would have it, a very now welcomed and grateful twist of fate. At the time, it was very tragic and deflating for me. But as fate would have it, I ended up back in the US, in Washington, a city that I said I would always avoid. But I landed here and met Runoko in person for the very, very first time. And we immediately clicked because of our common background. And we had very spirited discussions about our work. I could go on and on, but I just want to focus on a few countries. And let me say, the farthest I've ever traveled with Runoko, in spite of, my 50 something countries now and his 125 plus countries and territories, the farthest I've ever traveled with him was to Cambridge, Maryland for a panel that we were on together. But when the pandemic hit, and I had to vacate my residence because there was a COVID outbreak in the massive apartment complex I live in Anacostia, Southeast DC, I fled to Mexico, to Poland, to a bunch of other countries, and I had never been to Mexico. And while Runoko was hunkered down, staying safe in his California enclave, fortress, he said he hadn't been out in weeks and weeks and sometimes months and months. Through the phone, as I ventured into Mexico for a month by myself, renting a car, driving from Chiapas to Tabasco to all these different places, Runoko was my tour guide through the phone. And so I had always wanted to go to Mexico with Runoko, but circumstances would just not allow physically, but he ended up guiding me telephonically. And so I went to the Anthropological Museum in Mexico City. At that time, the museum had just opened, and that's something that Runoko and I really shared, is this uncanny luck, grace, or fortune of arriving in these far-flung, well, Mexico is not so far-flung, but it also happened in Belgium and Poland and other places too, arriving in cities where museums, which happen to be closed for sometimes years, will just reopened when we arrived, and it wasn't a planned event. So when I got to Mexico City, interestingly, the Anthropological Museum in Mexico had just reopened, and I was one of the only ones there, and I was able to go around, see the omics, and I had Runoko on FaceTime or WhatsApp when the signal would allow, and he was directing me through these various states of Mexico. And the same thing happened in Belgium at this newly opened Africa Museum that he guided me through remotely, Poland and other places. So I could go on, but I know we're short on time and there are other people who need to speak. But Runoko, I'm just now kind of able to accept his passing in physical form, but he was someone of a cadre that is very sparsely populated, and few understand me like Runoko can, because I would go to all these places by myself. I think only 4 or 5 countries did I travel to with other people. and Runoko would do that same thing. So his compliments to me of being brave, courageous, you know, one of his favorite activists and such were the highest compliments I've ever received in my life. I'm very fortunate to have known him. I'm happy that he left a plethora of work to study and delve deeper into. Archives, whether they be digital or hard copy, that we can page through and study for years and years and years to come. And the fact that he would take images in the most creative and artistic way he did and juxtapose them with everyday people from Compton, just, you know, common folk, to show our youth that there are spaces of opulent majesty beyond the places that we are trapped in, and to teach them about our history and all of that. It's a legacy that few have reached. So I'll leave it at that. I don't know who's to flow next. Is it Mama Kathy? I don't know what the transition is now.
So
Excuse
the
me.
transition, we got you. We will
Oh,
first and
thank you,
foremost
sister.
like to give thanks and
Thank
praise for you just sharing and giving us that personal flavoring and that spice and some salt and some honey mixed up there and there. So very grateful. We are now going to be welcome the tributes, rites from our majestic regal Senator Amanika Shipsut of the Asar Aset Society. May we welcome her.
Hetipu, everyone, peace and blessings. First, before I begin, I would like to ask for permission to speak from our elders who are present.
Permission given. Proceed.
Dawau Mama, Great Queen Mama Tendai. Thank you. Madasi. I would like to thank all of you for the beautiful, powerful libations that have been poured today in honor of Dr. Baba Runoko Rashidi. Today, as we all know, is a 40-day rites for Dr. Baba Runoko Rashidi, whom we have heard say is the handsome bringer of gifts. This is essentially a funerary ceremony for the living. So I know some people sitting here listening and saying, what is she talking about? A funerary ceremony for the living. Well, in Western tradition, when one of our loved ones transitions, we tend to say, our loved one is now in heaven. Our loved one is with God. Our loved one has, you know, gone forth. But we say, what is it that our ancestor needs? We say, we know that our ancestor is very much alive. His soul is very much alive. His spirit is very much alive. He continues to walk, to talk, to speak, to hear. And so what we need to do is listen. We need to listen to what it is that he needs so that he can continue to go forth and so that he can truly walk in the light, truly walk in the light. So in traditional African culture and spiritual tradition, you know, those of us who have been trained to be priests and priestesses, you know, have the training. We have the utilization of divination systems that allow us to have a front row seat to know what it is that our ancestor needs. And there are many divination systems that are currently being used. For instance, the Meduna Terra Oracle systems, the Ifa divination systems, I-King divination systems, and many others. There's so many numerous divination systems throughout Africa and throughout the African diaspora. So in the Kemetic tradition, we did a spiritual reading and received the oracle confirmation that we received was Ageb Timchayes Oser Tumaat when we inquired about the condition of his spirit. So when someone transitions, you want to know, one, what is the energy governing that person's transition? And you also want to know, what is the condition of our ancestor spirit? What are they going through? And what is it that they need? So Baba Runoko, in doing that spiritual reading, what that Geb and Oser essentially is saying is that Baba, on a very basic level, has a few challenges with his identifying with the earthly level, with his physical body, or rather with the idea of earthly living. And even we can see that in his love for his travels, his love for writing of his books, his love for his work, and even more importantly, in his love for his daughter. And so those of us who truly practice traditional African culture, we also fully acknowledge our communication with our ancestors, right? This is a very real thing. The idea that your loved one transitions and that you can never talk to them again is a complete fallacy. And we know this. And so not only do we have these very real conversations with the Neteru, the Obasun, the Shepsu, these other great high-level ancestors, we can talk to Baba. You can talk to him. He will come to you in your dreams. You know, you can hear him. You can pour libation and talk to him. You can energize him. And he needs you to do this. And so in doing so, an ancestor came through at his funerary ceremony, expressing that he has a concern, or had a very concern, until certain libations and spiritual work was done on his behalf, expressing that he had a concern about how well his daughter would be nurtured in his absence. Who is going to take his child and continue in this very Western world, not just his child, but many other children in this very Western world, nurture them educationally, spiritually, so forth and so on. Who's going to do that? But seeing the outpouring of love, the outpouring of energy, the very vast resources and everything that have come forth to nurture her and continue his work. He wants his work to be continued. And the beauty in that is that those who knew him, those who know him, and those who are his comrades in the struggle and in his work are continuing it. They have taken up the torch. Now for the rest of us, you know, those who say, you know, I love Baba Runoko, you know, I love his work. I look up to him. He has done so much for me. Or I haven't even met him and that man has touched my soul. Well, you have to acknowledge him. You have to call his name. You have to pour libation for him. And even if you don't know how to pour libation, if you don't know, what you can do is you can very simply have good intention. You can pour water into a plant and say, I give energy to you, Baba. I breathe life into you, into the essence of you. And the essence of who he is what we call Oser, what we call Obatala. That is who he is. That is his divine self. And so in the challenge of identifying with your person, right? When you traverse into the spiritual plane, you need to release this person. You need to understand that you are a divine being. So we have to all help Baba, remind Baba, tell him that he is a divine being. He is not a human being. Let me say that again. When you pour libation, when you talk to Baba, when you think of Baba, when you remember Baba, when you speak his name in the essence of saying, divine being, Dr. Baba Runoko Rashidi. Divine being, Anuko Ser, I am Oser. You are Oser. You are Obatala. You are this divine spirit energy that nurtures us and continues to nurture us. And which you can further do, what we all can further do is see him in the light, see him wrapped completely in white, see a bright, beautiful, glowing crown upon his head, and see light completely surrounding him, and see those high, beautiful, honored ancestors, those ancestors who cultivated civilization, those who are responsible for laying the spiritual foundations for us, see them with him and see them escorting him further into the duat. That's what we have to see. That's what we have to do for him on a regular basis. You cannot forget. There's one transition that people call death. But the second very real death is to not be remembered. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to forget him. And I know no one here will. No one here will. I know that you will not forget him. But what you have to do is you have to plant the seed in your children. You know, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your neighbors. The seeds have to be planted in those who do not know. We're very good at nurturing those we know, but we have to be better at nurturing those we don't know. And we have to be exemplary at nurturing those who are coming through. So you have to take care of your body, you have to take care of your health, you have to educate yourself, you have to spiritually uplift and cultivate yourselves, all of us. That's what we must do. Because the children who are coming through are the future Runoko Rashidis. And they're going to be very choosy about who they choose to come through. You know, so give them fertile ground. That's what it means to acknowledge an ancestor. They have a vested interest in what happens here. Many are returning. And so the environment that they return to has to be an extremely strong, powerful environment. Extremely. We cannot be lax as we go into these next generations. Because whether they come back, whether he comes back in 50 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years, what is he coming back to? We have to make sure that what he comes back to is the reestablishment, the true reestablishment of Africa in this land and many lands. That's what we have to do. Peace and love to everyone. At this moment, I will pour a libation to Baba, Dr. Runoko Rashidi, as we all energize him and see him in the light and surround him with love and remind him that he is a divine being. So the first portion of the mantra, can you hear me? The first portion of the mantra that I will, that you will hear me speak is, the words are Enene Neter Itayem Keperonk, which means I submit to God, who comes as the ever becoming. I submit to God, who comes as the ever becoming. Netrok Neter. Anacharak Atsef Mudite Itaem Paut Netaru, Anacharak Shu, Anacharak Nut, Anacharak Amen, Anacharak Tefnut. Dwau Amen, Anacharak Amen. Dwau for knowing that peace is our natural essential state. Dwau for the knowledge that we are made in the likeness of a peace that nothing can disturb. That Baba Runoko Rashidi can reclaim his peace right now in order to realize his reason for coming to existence, his reason for having come into existence this life. Dwanatea, Dwao Amen Anacharak, Dwao Osir, Dwanonk, Dwao for the unity of life Osir, Dwao for placing your crown upon his head, Dwell for allowing him to know and learn that his nature is an unconquerable peace, an unconquerable peace, and that nothing and no one in the world can be against him. That all of his experiences have come to promote his reclamation of peace. That he may in turn acquire wisdom and power and may know that he is God. May know that he is God. Dwell ser, Ancestral Tehuti, Dwell Madudnater, Dwell for sharing your wisdom with him. Dwell for sharing your wisdom. Dwell. Ancestral Sekert. Dwell Sekert. Dwell for sharing your power with Baba Runoko Rashidi, for allowing him to know that he has the power to bring all things into manifestation. That he, living on this earth and in the plains, has the influence on any course of any and all events. Dwau Sekret. Itayem Oya, Dwau, Dwau to you. Anetrawak Ma'at, Dwa, Emenebin Onke Ma'at, Dwa Nam Shring. God needs us in order to come into this world. Fulfilling God's need is an act of love. And only through our love for God can we fulfill our love for others. We have to become the love of God in this world for the protection of the world, for the divine protection of the world. So Dwa'u, Baba Runoko Rashidi, for your endless love in your teaching and your traveling. Dwa'u for your divine love, Shireen, that you shared with the universe, with all of us. Anetrawak Hukahuti, Dwan Piketa Pep Corset, Rukahuti, Dwa'u for divine protection. As he traverses into this inner plane, Dwa'u for protecting his soul, and Dwa'u for the protection of his family here on this earth. Know that God know that God gives you that divine sword. That divine sword. And that it must be wielded in truth. Anasharak Hiru, Dwan Ushat Eakut, Dwa'u, for giving him the light and the power to know that he wears the crown. Dwa'u, for giving him the knowledge of knowing that he needs to follow the laws of God. The wisdom of Tahuti, and that he can go forth with the fire in his heart to continue to encourage and nurture others who will follow him. Dwa'u for being the king that you were, and Dwa'u for being the king that you will continue to be. Anetcharak Heteru, Dwan Netchamong, Dwa'u for the sweetness, the sweetness, the sweetness, the sweetness, the sweetness of life. Dwa'u Offset. Heteru. Dwa'u for the creativity that you have given him with the words, with the many books that will nurture many, 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 many children. Many, many, many to follow. Dwa'u for the kindness in his heart the kindness with which he approached many, 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 many sisters, many, many brothers, as he opened his arms to envelop them with his teachings. Dwa'u. Anacharak sebek itam ampu and apuat, dwan sapir nanke ma'at, dwa'u for the way being open. Dwa'u for the way being open. We ask that it be open, and we know that it is open. For Dr. Baba Runoko Rashidi to go forth and join, with those great ancestors who are waiting for him. And Necharak said, and Necharak Kenemet on Ket, Dwan Sanak Dwao, for your ability to go into the murky waters of the well so that it can be cleansed and purified. We ask that you cleanse and purify his soul so that he may rise up the tree of life, so that he may know that he is divine. He was prepared to sacrifice everything to achieve his life goals here on this earthly plane. He sacrificed due to love and devotion. He taught due to love and devotion. He nurtured due to love and devotion. So we ask, Mudal said, that you open your arms and wrap them around this divine child, this divine king, this divine Osir, Runoko Rashidi, Anecharat Geb, Dwan Kai and Kai Bit, Dwao for your resources, Dwao for allowing him to know that as he has come from heaven, to heaven he shall return. And to seek not the enduring works of this earth, but the divine gifts that await in the spiritual realm. Necharak 10 Paut Netaru, Necharak 10 Paut Shepsu, a Necharak Shekma Ra Neframen the first, a Necharak Sheps Karankunu Nefrank Amen, a Necharak 10 Nesuit Amen, a Necharak 10 Shepsu, a Necharak to those ancestors of Dr. Baba Runoko Rashidi. We ask that you guide him. And we say Dwa'u, Dwa'u for guiding him. Dwa'u, Dwa'u, Dwa'u for surrounding him in the light. And we say to Baba, Dr. Runoko Rashidi, walk into the light. Walk into the light. Walk into the light. Dwa'u for your great works. Ebanitu, Anacharak, Anacharak, Anacharak. Power to you. Anacharak Hotel.
Do I want to give him thanks for the fullness shared by our beloved sister queen, Dominica. And as we move forward in our 40-day rites of passage and tribute to the illustrious, powerful Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi, we are so honored equitably to now welcome tribute from the UNIA-ACL RC2020's ambassador of health and wellness, powerful, illustrious, regal Queen Grandmother, Catherine English. May we welcome her.
Give thanks, give thanks. Beloved sister Amanika, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am so full. I'm so grateful to be here right now as I am preparing to get on the road to go back to New York for the delivery of my granddaughter today on the day of Runoko's 40-day rites. I will be brief, because there's not much I can say after what you just did, my sister. If I could ask permission from Mama Tendai, Baba Mose, Mama Jeanette, one of our elders, to continue.
Mission granted, sister.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. On a personal note, my beloved Senghor has very few people who he calls his righteous brothers. You all are on here, you know who you are. And Runoko was definitely one of them. Runoko spent many nights in our home, ate many meals, drank much liquor, and other things here. We celebrated life after he finished his lectures and works in the region here at home. I have several things I want to thank you for, Runoko. For loving Senghor the way you did, and for him loving you and knowing the true beauty of brotherhood. I often felt that if Senghor and I had not connected, Runoko and Senghor would have been on the road together. I think that's where he would have been most at home. So I thank Runoko for that. I also thank Runoko for his love of Black women and how he honored us almost daily with photographs on his website, the beauty of African women around the world. He truly loved the beauty of African women and the coupling of men and women. He respected that a great deal. His beloved, who spoke at the service, Dr. Karen, little did I know that it was her work, the uplifting of Nannie Helen Burroughs and Anna Julia Cooper, which was her PhD dissertation, that I found in a library, which helped inspire me to move forward with my work as Nannie Helen Burroughs. I had no idea that she was his beloved. And he told me many years later, at that time they were not together, that they were friends. And then when I heard her speak at his service, and I realized the depth of their relationship and her calling to be there with him in Quebec when he made his transition, I was moved so deeply because she has inspired me greatly with her work. Runoko also was one who was quick to remind people that I follow the Christ consciousness, and Runoko would be quick to put people in their place when they would talk about the Christianity as a European religion. He was very clear with folk, get over yourself. The Christianity was in Africa as long as there was Christianity, just about. And so I respected him for that as well. Because for those of us who do choose to follow the Christ consciousness, because for whatever reason, for me, it's because that's the path I was born in, and I figured that's the path I need to lead with. And so I respected him for that as well. The other thing about Runoko is that even in all of his work, he was still very humble. He was still a very humble brother, connected to his roots in California, to his family. He never appeared to elevate himself above the brothers in the hood. I respect that a great deal. He was simple in his dress and his style and his manner. You know, he wore his shorts and his socks and his brogans shoes. I have a real appreciation for who Runoko is, who he will always be. And so I'm going to just close up real briefly, asking that we just close our eyes for a moment and just take this in. Just see in your mind a ball of golden light and watch as it expands until it covers the entire inner vision of your mind. See this structure, a temple as built in ancient Kemet. And imagine a body of water just flowing through this temple. The inside is filled with this light. And so know that we are all brought here together in the power and the presence of the Great Spirit of our Creator, of Source Energy. And join us here at the center of this light is one of God's most beautiful angels, by whatever name you may call it. Yeshua, the Prophet Muhammad, Isis, Oshunos Arset. And in this space is also the soul of our brother, Nana Baba, Dr. Runoko Rashidi. And he is just in that space, relaxing in the arms of the Most High. There is a beautiful golden cord that connects him to each and every one of us, right into our heart center, where he will be tied forevermore. The angel places the cord right to our heart, and we commune with the spirit of Runoko. Say to him right now what it is that you may need to say, or hear from him right now what you may need to hear. Brother, we love you. We thank you for all you have been to us and to the world. And now we release you. We release you to God in the company of all the ancestors. Asking that your glorious journey be sweet. Thank you, brother. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry you home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry you home. So it is. Thank you all for beautiful 40-day rites.
Giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to be with such powerful, illustrious, awesome, beyond measure African Queen Mother Warriors, bringing all this vibration and upliftment for our illustrious, regal, Makeru triumphant one. What? Baba, Professor, Doctor, my brethren, Runoko Rashidi. With that being said, we are going to have our first Assistant President General share his tributes, his reflections. Baba Senghor Baye. Because we could bring this up a little bit. We could change this vibration. We could start doing some serious work. You understand?
Y'all gotta get real, because if you felt yeah, brothers and sisters, especially brothers, the energy of our goddess sisters is very, 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 very moving. But most of all, it's a message for all of us. We're born through the womb and we return into the universe, which gives the energy to us to enter the womb to manifest procreation. So if you know, like I know, in order to flip this planet Earth, Mother Earth, back to its traditional greatness, we must study what Runoko left us, but we must all feel the vibrations that you just felt, that our sisters rose us up with. And I'm gonna leave the main message to my PG, because I know he got a lot to share. But I just wanna leave with you all that our traveling ambassador is gonna work his mojo. You better do what you're called to do, because we all are headed back home at some point in time, and nobody knows when you're called. So while you're here and the earth needs our love, people need our upliftment, don't mess around. It's time for us to raise up our wings and fly. Without any further ado, President General of the UNIA-ACL of the world, our brother, Baba Akili Nkrumah.
Ashe. Ashe, I would ask for permission from the goddesses to speak.
Permission granted, brother.
Thank you, my sister. I ask because the energy in this circle is the goddesses guiding the way. The truth, in reference to our traveling ambassador, Runoko Rashidi, is that's what he always held up. The goddesses, the beauty, the structure of not just the African queens, but for the queens who ruled the world. He traveled to 127 countries to identify the African presence everywhere. Because as Africans, we apparently have had amnesia for a long time and don't realize all that we've done. Our traveling ambassador, Runoko Rashidi, was on earth a man, in essence, a spirit sent to give us information and guidance to move forward. Runoko Rashidi blessed us with his presence, but that ancestral spirit, that mother that brought him, the energy that guided him and developed him, as he has gotten many charges, many titles, he was an African man. And he was a Garveyite. Let me say it again. He was an African man, but he was a Garveyite. As he moves today, he will stand Runoko beside Marcus Messiah Garvey. And they will be close to the same height. The strength of those men were not measured in their physical structure, but measured in their ability to build, to grow, to motivate, and speak truth to power. As those men communicate, they will also be given instructions, as they both were, by the African queen. Amy Jocks Garvey is going to be sitting in the circle with those brothers saying, wait a minute, that's not, no, hold it. We got to move. Understanding that we brothers who are still here must hear your guidance. And we must understand that leadership is neither male nor female. It is truth. It is justice. It's reciprocity. Understand, we have to move in that realm. I listened to many of you and Sister Ismira, and speaking of her interactions and traveling, remind me of a conversation that I had with Brother Runoko when he spoke about the countries that he went to. And he spoke about going to a museum where the guards told him he could not take a picture. He said, I can't take the picture. They say, no, you can't take the picture. He said, okay. He took the picture anyway. I'm not sure all of the maneuvers he did to get the guard to look away while he took the picture, but he took it and made it a part of his presentation because the picture showed the African presence in the country. You see, we spread the world, we built the world, and yet we still have a world to build. We have not completed our task. I will say Runoko's passing is because his work was done. Not that there wasn't more work to do. Not that there isn't more work that we have to accomplish. And Ismira, the traveler that you are, you now have a role to fill in accumulating data and information in order to continue the work that the Honorable Runoko Rashidi gave to you. Oh yeah. You see, he made sure he had a student that would travel and understood the work to be done. You think it was all around him, and it was, but there was something special and unique in that exchange. Thank you for sharing, because he spoke about it too. He spoke about his travels, but more importantly, Runoko again was a guard react. You say, why are you repeating that? I'm repeating that for this reason. When the UNIA-ACL fell in discord, Runoko Rashidi said in Philadelphia to me, if you two start something, I'm with you. He was our traveling ambassador for 8 years with Baba Senghor. And as we reinvented and reconnected and began to rebuild the UNIA-ACL under RC2020, he stood fast to continue to be that traveling ambassador because he understood the legacy and the truth that had to be manifested. And he did that. He did that through his work. He did that in his life. I hope this message also transcends to his daughter. And I hope that this work that I've heard from you, Sister Queen Mothers today also gets to her ears. Because we don't always know the person who we call by name in all of the ways they manifest. The man, sister said he came, he ate. Yes, Runoko liked to eat. That he did. Runoko liked to travel. That he did. Runoko liked to smoke. That he did. Runoko liked to drink. That he did. Runoko loved African women. That he did. That he did. Let's not get it twisted. Runoko loved brothers, but Runoko loved African women first and foremost. And I guess that's why he got the name Runoko, the handsome one. The handsome one. The handsome one who brings gifts. No, he is the handsome one who gave gifts. He gifted all of us. He gifted all of us, not just us. He gifted all of us the gift of understanding of where we are and what we have to do. But I say again, he was committed to making sure that the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League Rehabilitating Committee 2020 became not only relevant, but would become the mission that would move us forward in order for us to unify Africa under one government based on African democratic principles of Ma'at and our cultural values. Understanding that moving forward in this direction will put us on the level to speak government to government and make the necessary changes for African people. You see, Runoko did not die. His work was done on this physical plane, but he has not died. It's life to life. It's life to life. He will speak to you. He's going to come to you. He going to touch you. And if you be wrong when he touch you, he going to touch you. And when your health is a challenge, the loved ones come. Runoko is here, but he's here in the way that he can be. He's now going to visit every other country. Stay connected and listen to those stories that you haven't heard. Our brethren, our teacher, our guider, that spirit, that essence is right here, right now. He talked to us through all of us. He touched all of us by what we have from him. We don't die. We elevate. It's a 40-day rites to recognize the elevation from this plane to that plane. They say cry when you're born, because then you've left that plane to come here. Celebrate when you leave here, because you return to a higher place. Understand, he has no limitations now. None. He is free, unbounded by this physical mass, with no challenges, no pain. He's free. We who are still here have work to do. He will assist us in our work. Many times we will see the pictures, we will see the connections, you will reflect on the books, you will think about it, and you will realize that we are not alone. Marcus Garvey said, "Look for me in the whirlwind. I'm coming back million strong, and I'll be the real Marcus Garvey." Well, you say, what did he mean? That means he's gonna be the Marcus Garvey that take no prisoners and don't bow to nobody, and they can't lock him up. He free. Runoko has joined that realm. I know that life in essence is what we touch. I know that's what we feel. So I know we feel an emptiness because you can't touch him and you can't hug him. But he hugs you. He touches you. You have to feel him in the essence of who you are. You have to connect with him as we connect with each other. I embrace all of you in the spirit of true love and guidance, because I truly understand we all sometimes going to feel like we lost him. But in the moment you think you lost him, look up. He's going to touch you on your forehead. He's going to touch you in your heart. He going to let you know he right here with you. We never walk alone. We will never be alone. He won't ever be gone. We are now his emissaries. For as he was our traveling ambassador, we are now his. Ashe, Ashe, and Asante.
Asheo. Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Dr. Chen, I just got a quick announcement, and I just want to remind people that later on today at 6 p.m. Eastern EDT, Eastern Standard Time, go to appeal.org if you would like to register so that you can continue to hear not only reflections, but directions and explanations about the 40-day rites and how important that is. The likes of Wayne Chandler, Paul Coates, Anthony Browder, myself, James Smalls, and others will be joining Appeal this evening at 6 p.m. So without any further ado, and like the PG, you couldn't have put it no more plainer, brother. Like Brother Malcolm X said out on Wallace Shabazz, make it plain, you made it plain. So all y'all listeners out there, if you didn't catch it, check it out on Facebook, listen to this again, and understand our traveling ambassador is gonna really work some mojo now, because as the PG just said, he's gonna be all over us, all over the world. Dr. Chenzara, thank you so much for your blessings, your messages. Sister Mona Cherie, Ismira, Mama Tendai, America, Sister Kathy, y'all a blessing. And brothers, if y'all got any women close to you, let them raise you up. Because we can no longer be content with the food of chickens, huh, Baba Akili? We got to rise up our wings and free Mother Africa, the land.
I say.
Dr. Chenzara.
I am very grateful to everyone that has been able to provide such a uplifting, powerful tribute on this 40-day rites of passage, which is part of our ancestral ancient African tradition. I know that our intention has been to share a video. We were having some issues earlier. Hopefully, we will no longer have that issue. I just need for persons to let me know if you're seeing my screen shared.
Yes.
Give thanks.
Yes.
Does that mean you don't hear the music though?
No, we don't hear the music.
All right. Let's try it one more time. May not need the music actually, but I'm gonna go back. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, Claudio.
This one is for my ancestor. I feel them on my shoulder. Begging me to drop bombs like boulders. As a cultural molder. They insist that I use my gifts as a lyricist to bear witness to the past, present, and future of African greatness, and always place emphasis on the beauty of blackness. I never digress into the common connotation of my color with slackness. Tell the people the truth, not petty myths like Loch Ness. Direct them to the proof of an African genesis and be a portal through which they can access the inner emperor and the inner empress. Cause it's the duty of every man and every woman to manifest God in flesh. So we honor the body, the Ori, and the Ruach Kodesh. We say Hetep Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Jah bless cause. This poem and all the rest are for the ancestor. We stand upon their shoulder. So rise, you African sons and daughters. Let me bust the steel files and fold. You see the people dying, but you know not what they're dying for. You hear the children crying, but you know not what they're crying for. You tell me that you're trying, but you know not what you're trying for. How can we win the war if you know not what you're fighting for? You want to see more clearly, but your vision don't stretch very far. Get your head out of the clouds so you can see beyond the stars. Embrace Venus and plant your feet on Mars. Your mind should span galaxies, but you keep it locked behind bars. It's time to get grounded in the tradition which our ancestors founded. Every time we left it out, we tend to get pounded by European ideology. We are confounded, but hearken your ear so you can hear when the echo bell has sounded. And have no fear, cause we are always surrounded by the ancestors. They're wrapped around my shoulders. And even when times get bad and cold, them's the times we get bad and bold. The spirit world is accessible, it's permeable and it's porous. The ancestors sit behind the veil patiently waiting for us. They implore us to join them in chorus, to fight against those who would detest and detour us. But some careless Ethiopians think that somehow the plantation owners now adore us. And if we stick our heads in the sands, our enemies will ignore us. But if that's what we think, then we're on the brink of extinction like Tyrannosaurus. No time to blink, time to link with that and those which came before us. Like the Sphinx, which is really Horem, Heket, and Heru, who is higher than Horus. None but ourselves can free our minds, and none but ourselves can ensure that we are victorious. In a world of criminals, the righteous man and woman is notorious. But have no fear, stand firm by your God and also by your glorious ancestors. Our shoulders are their shoulders. They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Well, what a beauty it is to behold that which is our. They insist that I use my gifts as a lyricist to bear witness to the past, present, and future of African greatness, and always place emphasis on the beauty of blackness and never digress into the common connotations of my color with slackness. Tell the people the truth, not petty myths like Loch Ness. Direct them to the proof of an African genesis and be a portal to which they can access the inner emperor and the inner empress. Cause it's the duty of every man and every woman to manifest God in flesh. So we honor the Badaka, the Ori, and the Ruach Kodesh. We say Hetep Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Jah bless cause. This poem and all the rest are for the ancestors.
We definitely want to give thanks to the Minister of Communication, Baba Zaman Cook, for putting together a very fitting photo collage in motion of our illustrious regal Baba Nana, Professor Dr. Runoko Rashidi. May we keep him rising up and keep him in the heights and always call his name. Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi. And may he stay in protect in peace and tranquility for eternity. We all love him.
Hey, Rue, you can stop the Facebook stream. And if people